Live on YouTube right now, dude, as we are ready to launch here. And hello, everyone. Welcome as we are one day away from the weekend here on Spaced Out Radio. And crop circles is what we are talking about. Darcy Weir is with us. We had to say good night to Gary King. Wasn't feeling well tonight. So he actually got sick and said, guys, I apologize. I can't make it. But filmmaker Darcy Weir is with us. So we're going to go into crop circles. We're going to talk about another bunch of topics around the entire phenomena because there's a lot of really cool stuff coming on. Before we bring Darcy on, let's give a shout out to everybody in our chat room so far. Race fan, how you doing? Nice to see you back on top of the gold medal position. Taking home the silver is music maker James Horn with the bronze. The gorgeous Emily Bigelow is here, everyone, otherwise known as Alaska's greatest athlete. MPM, good to see you. Hi, Andrew. Give us a honk on the horn, will you? Jesse and Brett Lewis are here. Brett Lewis is here so we can officially start the show. Yes, the gorgeous Cosmic Flower is here, and the stunning Brandy Phillips. Yes, hey, guess what? Sipping a fine glass of wine tonight is the gorgeous Simply Cocoa. Make sure you save some for us for the after party. Sassy Sandra, Aiden, good to see you guys. Thank you for coming on in. Luscious Laura, how are you? Welcome to the show. Canadian Susan, we love you up in Edmonton. And thank you for listening. And as we scroll on here, Ed Clater, good to have you back, buddy. The gorgeous Wrench Princess Denali, the official royalty of Spaced Out Radio. Lord of Land, Steve Stockton. Cloudy, good to have you guys here. Thank you. TH, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. And as we scroll on down, Hanging Laundry, welcome to our chat room for the first time. Glad you are here, my friend. Thank you. Lovely Laura, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Oh, my voice is still bugging me tonight. I apologize. Jurassic Joey, how are you, man? Good to see you. Ken in Dallas, Nucker and Millennium, you guys rock, man. Thank you for coming on in. Always appreciate you here. John Ballerman, Greg Moyes, and Pol Pot, good to have you guys here. Thank you for joining us. As we scroll on down, Richard Elmore, nice to see you. Kirk Seltzer with a splash of lime on the side even. Good to have you here, man. Rachmaninoff, nice to see you. As we continue on here. And, oh, Manitoba Becky's here, everyone. She doesn't come in often, but when she does, she comes in with a bang. Manitoba Becky from Brandon, Manitoba, the home of the Wheat Kings right there. Project Blue Book is here. He'll be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the right. Chris Mo from Austria is here. He'll be signing autographs on the left, so make sure you use only blue Sharpie for him. Beef Stew, good to see you. Ozzy, oi, oi to you. Eugene Braxton, my brother, how are you? Hey, Howard, good to see you. As I scroll on up here, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Nope, nobody there. Uncle Dale and his Power Stash. Remember, you can rub Uncle Dale's Power Stash for good luck, people. It may even win you the lottery. So make sure you look for it. Definitely look for it. Penman, good to see you. In the Space Out Radio chat room there on Facebook. Jeremy Jones, thanks for coming on in. Let's see here. Almost ready, Darce.
No problem, man.
Yeah, man. Okay, we got about a minute and a half here.
UD?
Yeah. All right, as we continue on here, let's make sure we hit that because we kind of are live. All right, Mondak, nice to see you, my friend. Martin R., good to see you. The lovely Kira, our beautiful Wrench. Michael Lestuka, nice to have you here, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Uncle Dale, you cannot win the lottery with your own stash. And we are 29 seconds away. A great way to support what we do on this show, everyone, is by hitting the super chat. which is always open. We really do appreciate your help. Also, by just as important, by the way, is hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell so you know when we're going to come on live on this show, and of course, giving us a thumbs up or thumbs down. Your choice, whatever you want to do. We really don't mind either way. Let's do a show here. Mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by CHIVE Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting CHIVE Charities today. You can find them on our website. We are talking crop circles tonight as videographer, documentarian, great-haired gentleman, Darcy Weir, who also has a fantastic beard, by the way. He writes, films, edits, and produces documentary-related subject matter. He's been doing it since 2012, and he's getting pretty successful, especially in the phenomena of the weird and strange and supernatural. He has done documentaries on Sasquatch, on UFOs, on crop circles, alien abduction. He is right in there, and the best part about it is he's an indie distributor, which means that he literally is doing this all on his own and really trying hard to break through without somebody pulling the strings of what he can and cannot say. It is rebellious. It is great work. I've worked with Darcy for full admission, and I've really enjoyed my time getting to know him over the last couple of years. We're going to bring him on momentarily. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Darcy Weir, my friend, how you doing?
Good, Dave. How you doing, buddy?
I am good. Now, we do have to apologize because you were going to bring crop circle expert Gary King on, but he got ill. And he just could not make it tonight, unfortunately. And you know what? That happens. A lot of sickness around right now. So we wish him to get better. But thank you for the opportunity to at least come on and talk about this new crop circle documentary, which we'll get into momentarily, my friend. How you been doing otherwise? You're originally from Vancouver, but right now you're hiding down in Texas.
Yeah, I am hiding in the old Houston. Yeah, I'm good. I've been working on another documentary on secret space-related theory, and interviewing some key players in the investigation of the secret space programs and UFOs in space and all that type of stuff. So I've been good. I've been working on what I love to do, and I got vaxxed. I'm a vaxxer. Not an anti-vaxxer, but a vaxxer. So I got vaxxed, and I'm feeling good. Feeling all right. Don't have a eyeball growing out my back yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, in regards to all of these subject matters, were you a sci-fi freak growing up here, and that's the reason why you've taken on all of these subjects as a documentarian?
I was a horror freak. Still am. Anytime I hear about a new horror film, I, check out a trailer or read up a bit about it and find my ways to eventually see it. I really like things that challenge people's minds, and my documentaries by no stretch of the imagination are horror, but they're unsettling they're unsettling to some folks. I think some folks that can't comprehend or grasp a greater reality happening around the planet, that many people are reporting on. So I'm attracted to that stuff. I go to the fringe.
For you as a filmmaker, what makes a good documentary? Is it the story behind it? Is it the overall topic, the people involved? What makes it happen?
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of all that. The story usually is something that I want to research or tell. I want to find out about crop circles in this case, and what's the history of this? What are the most incredible anomalous cases that have happened in history in let's say modern times that we have video and pictures of and so on and so forth. Um, and what are the arguments against crop circles being a real thing? Meaning, are they made by an intelligent source that's from somewhere else that's not human? And what's the possibility that most of them are just made by humans? And um, we look at both of those in this documentary, but we try to um, hammer home that there's definitely some anomalous activity going on out there. There's been some of it caught on camera. Um, Gary King has been witness to um, a bunch of it, and it's too bad we couldn't have him tonight. But I'll do my best to explain what I know about him and his research and the things that he's imparted to me. This is a English man. He's walked in over 900 different crop circles as they've appeared throughout the years. And he had an experience called 777, which happened, July 7th, 2007. He was up on Knapp Hill, and there was a flash of light at 3:30 in the morning, pitch dark, and as the sun came up, him, his girlfriend, and an investigator that had been literally trying to capture a crop circle being formed on video by balls of light because he had seen orbs 20 years earlier hovering over the crops where the crop circles had appeared. And that individual's name is escaping me, but he's in the documentary. And this man had set up cameras, and they had, witnessed something quite amazing happen in the cover of dark with no other people around to account for creating this elaborate formation that was down in East Field, just below the hill. So, really interesting guy. I'm glad I got to work with him on this documentary. So, people are obviously an important factor to putting together these stories, and just the, for lack of a better word, the awe that's inspired in many of these stories, the shock and awe.
For you, as someone going in completely cold into the stories of crop circles, we had you on a couple of months ago talking about your documentary that was just released about Sasquatch. And
Yeah.
now we're talking crop circles with you. And I'm curious. I know with Sasquatch, you have a completely different take on it than I do, and that's fair. We're allowed to agree to disagree. With crop
Yeah.
circles, are you just as skeptical that this is an unnatural phenomenon comparatively to a natural phenomena?
Well, I'm convinced it's an unnatural phenomenon. I think it's something um, intelligently designed uh, by, the what we propose in the documentary is that at least 20% of the really complex glyphs, agroglyphs that have shown up in the crops over the years, that have an increasing quality of design to them, seem to be made by some kind of technology that's not just men with a wood board and ropes. That's what I've concluded after doing this research, and um, many people believe that have been researching this phenomenon for years. You know, I think it's Andrew Collins, Gary King, Jaime Maussan. You know, Gary thinks maybe some are made by UFOs, some are made by spirits, he believes, or like energy that's coming from the earth, which is really interesting. But you probably saw our breakdown of the Oliver Castle orb UFO video, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting video. I can play it if you want. I could share my screen and pop that baby up for some of your viewers to see. Um, but basically, this was filmed by an Australian guy in 1996, Jonathan Wiley. I'll pop it up for you here. Just play it. And you see the two orbs float over. You see basically a bunch of circles just appear in the crop, and then one orb flows the other way, and then another two flow through the picture. And what's interesting about this story, the backstory to how this video was taken, um, Gary King, he actually only started getting interested in the whole crop circle phenomenon and going out himself in person in 1997. So the year after this video was created and released. And basically, Jonathan Wiley was an Australian man. He came from Australia to the UK, as many people do every year. They fly over, and they want to see whatever shows up in the summer or spring as it shows up. There's a lot of people that work near the farms and kind of report this. They keep their eyes on the crops, and when something like this pops up, they call around and make sure folks know about it. Newspapers, yada yada yada. Anyways, Jonathan Wiley was camping out on this hill above the Oliver's Castle area, and he was the only one there because no one wanted to camp out with him at this time. There was forecast for some like dreary sort of weather, some rain that night. He said, well, screw it, I'll go. And when he went out there, he was all alone, and at about 4:00 in the morning, he heard this sort of hum outside his tent, some kind of noise. And when he opened the zipper to his tent, he could see these orbs flowing around the crop, below the hill. And he took out his mini DV camcorder, as you would have had back in the 1990s, started recording these orbs flying around. And he had about 15 minutes of footage. He took this camera with him once he'd done filming this, and he went to the local pub. And this is a pub that many crop circle researchers kind of congregate at during the day, the night. And he waited for it to open. And Gary King said that many of the usual folks that are, at this time in the 90s researching the crop circle phenomenon were there. They met with Jonathan, and he shared this video. And you got to keep in mind, when he was recording it, daylight was just coming up, and he was losing more sight of what he was recording. But also, these mini DV cameras have like a little flip out screen. They're not very bright. They're pretty small, and it's hard to focus on exactly what you're seeing, especially when you're just seeing these orbs with your naked eye, right? So he ends up going, showing this video to them, and that's when everybody else realized, hey, when you put this on the TV screen, we could see that this formation, this actual crop circle, shows up. It gets laid out while these orbs are flying around, and that's how it all started. Now, this guy named, I think his name's Aaron Sorensen, who's a bit of a crop circle hoaxer. He came along and convinced Jonathan to share the mini DV tape with him and said, "Oh, I'm going to edit it. I'll make this great documentary for you. I'll, help you market it, all that stuff." He handed over the tape. This individual has later come forward since this time and said, "Hey, this um, video is, I've lost most of it, but there's only 15 seconds that I salvaged from it." And he's also said to the public that he was the one that created many crop circles in the past. So Gary doesn't believe a thing he says. He thinks he's a bit of a jerk, and I don't blame him, I guess. And I think the video has been really well analyzed by many different sort of video researchers, and what they say, there's another filmmaker named Terry Toffness. I think he's from Norway. He made a documentary on crop circles, and he analyzed this video with a Disney animation team in 2004. Still some time ago, but not as old as 1996. And he said to them, "How easy would it be to animate this, to just put those balls in the balls of light, the orbs in this video?" And they said in 2004, "Well, there's a couple things we look for as animators. Are there artifacts that are present as the orbs go along? Do you see artifacts, right? And on top of that, where are the orbs going, and where's the landscape as the video is being recorded?" And what they noticed is that there was no artifacts where the orbs were moving. The landscape is moving because he's recording with, one hand and trying to keep this steady. The horizon is moving, but these orbs are staying, they're flowing completely naturally over the landscape in the exact sort of location they would be going as they're flying. So they said it would take them probably in 2004 a week to make that video, and it wouldn't look as natural. And in 1996, this individual, Jonathan Wiley, wouldn't have had the access, being this Australian man. And that's what the debunkers said. They said, "Oh, he made that video and he purposely was just doing this to blow up the whole crop circle idea and mystery." And that's just not the case, because the video wouldn't have been that easy to make. And even today, when we go through it, with our video analysis, it seems to be very real.
When it comes to crop circles like this, why do you think there's so many hoaxers in this? Why try and debunk it?
Well, the interesting thing that I heard Gary say the other day was that they actually linked Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley to the government at one point in the 90s. So what you got to realize about these folks, when they came forward, crop circles were really starting to show up en masse more and more as the 80s. It started in the 70s. It was getting lots of coverage in the UK on television and such, newspapers, all that. 80s, 90s, it's at an all-time high of interest. People are, like I said, Jonathan Wiley came over from Australia, but you got Canadians, Americans, French, everybody and their mothers, let's go check out the crop circles. So 1990 rolls around, and there was actually, interestingly enough, in that same field, East Field, which is a prevalent place that these crop formations show up, um, this massive design shows up. And this attracted a lot of attention. The farmers were pretty pissed about it because basically all of these people were driving out to the countryside to see this recent crop formation that showed up in Eastfield. And they were jumping the fences. People were walking onto the property uninvited and walking through the crop circle. And there were so many cars apparently lined up along the side of this farm that the police was just handing out tickets one after another, just hundreds of cars. Well, this was 1990 that showed up, and literally like a few months after that, going into the next year in 1991, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley show up and they say, we made all of the crop circles from now previous to the 70s. That we're responsible for all of them. And they take out a wood board and some rope and they start crunching down the crops with their feet. And they did a demonstration, and the media glommed onto that, and they basically said, the mystery is solved. It's Doug and Dave. And Gary and a bunch of researchers found out that these guys were being paid to basically go on tour to talk about how they were hoaxing everything. And there were so many holes in their story, so many things that just didn't add up. If you look at that video with the orb, that's a very common phenomenon. Many people have seen orbs around the fields where crop circles have shown up. But, with Gary's story of 777, with this crop formation showing up in a manner, less than a few hours, this was 1,033 feet wide and something like 98 crop circles conjoined. And they did, an analysis. If they did that via time, you would have to create perfectly symmetrical circles, glyphs. That's 2 minutes each, based on the amount of circles that showed up and the time that it took between when it went, midnight to that flash of light and then the sun coming up around 4:30. And there's just no way. There was no humans with headlamps doing it. And anytime Doug and Dave had come forward to reproduce something that looked perfectly symmetrical from the sky, these messages are only read from the sky. That's the other thing. They just couldn't do it as perfect. And that was another hole in their story. And some people believe that Doug and Dave were kind of like a plant for this phenomenon to
Darcy, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Darcy Weir, we're talking crop circles. He's a great documentarian, and we'll talk more about his new crop circle documentary coming up on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're clear, dude.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll continue kind of where you're leaving off here, and because that's actually a good line of questioning here.
Yeah, I can talk a lot longer about Doug and Dave. There's lots of things about their story that just doesn't add up, and there are some really nice glyphs that have been made that are in the crop. Made in the crops that are made by professional teams of men, but I'll get into the information about that.
Definitely, dude. We'll get into it big time.
Cool.
Big time.
Cool. What's been going on with you though?
Nothing, man. We're building a new website for the show. That's we're still a little. I was hoping to have it launched this week, but unfortunately, we're not going to. Just needs a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And so that is going to get done. We're having a meeting on Sunday about it, and then
Nice.
I also have to we're not like, even though you and I are on camera, it's only me on YouTube right now, and we're in the process of switching that over, so that way we can do all of that. And
yeah.
excuse me. And so hopefully going to get that taken care of pretty soon.
Do I need to have my video on then? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just you and I hanging out, man.
Cool.
Just you and I hanging out.
Cool. So when I share my screen, none of that actually like shows up?
No, but it looked good. Not gonna lie, it looked good.
That's funny. But that's cool. Are you still doing the gig during the day at the dealership?
Yeah.
Shit, dude.
Yeah.
You must be tired. How do you pull this, man? You on meth or something?
No. I you know what, dude? It's something that I'm up anyways.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how tired I am.
You're a night owl. You're a night owl.
I'm a night owl. Yeah.
All right, I'm just switching my camera off because I'm gonna like just relax a bit more so I can tell these stories.
You go.
But
we all know that you can only tell stories when you're naked, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
For
sure.
How's the wifey?
She's good. She's in the other room chatting with her girls. You know,
nice.
All the goss. They love the goss, man. How's your wifey?
Good.
And the kitty?
He's good, man. He's good. Finished strong in hockey, and I'm gonna send him down to the Lower Mainland once hopefully this summer, when COVID kind of calms down, to get him some proper hockey instruction. The coaching up here is terrible. It's terrible.
Oh shit, really? Yeah. Well, just don't have the probably. I mean, as soon as you get like a little bit too far away from the big cities, people start to lack effort. Not you, obviously. You're like a human dynamo, but I could see coaching just not being top A1 top quality over there, right?
Yeah. It's they mean well, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. It's
shit.
You know, and as someone like me, where dude, I used to coach pretty competitively.
Yeah, well, you were a hockey commentator or reporter too, right?
Yeah,
Journalist.
Yeah. So I just grinds my gears, and it'll definitely get me fired up. You know what I'm talking about?
Bet.
If you know what I'm talking about. But
yeah, for sure, man. You want the best for your kid.
Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm not one of these parents who thinks, hey, my kid's going to the show or whatever. But you know what? At least, you know, the other thing too, and
at least you want them to be able to play well on ice. You know,
yeah. So
doesn't look ridiculous. Have you noticed that car prices are going up or whatever because of this whole COVID supply shortage?
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that after.
Really?
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that after. Tell you why. But hold on, buddy. Here we go. Thank you to Cat Chaser, Sinister Shorts, and Dirt Road for the super chats. Here we go. second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Darcy Weir is with us. We're talking skepticism in the crop circle realm. And Darcy can be found all over the internet on Hulu, on Tubi TV. He's got documentaries on crop circles, Bigfoot, UFOs, aliens, ET contact. I think he may even have one on Where's Waldo as well. Darcy, welcome back.
Yeah, that's the next one. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I guess I was talking about Doug and Dave just before we went on the break there.
Yeah, so for people who are just tuning in, remind us who Doug and Dave are.
So Doug and Dave are two British country bumpkins that claimed to have made every crop glyph, every agroglyph or crop circle, in another word, from the 1970s on to the 90s. They said that they did it by taking a wood board and rope and just stepping on the board, holding onto the rope with, giving it some direction, and they would spin around and they would make these elaborate designs. But there's two problems with their, there's three, maybe four. First one is most of their designs are not as elaborate, not as well constructed and symmetrical, don't look almost perfect. And the other thing is that they damage the crops. They kill the crop. As soon as you put that force down on the crop, you're going to break the stalk of the plant. And something that you'll notice in the documentary is that these designs, these massive glyphs, show up in many different crops. They don't just show up in hay, wheat fields that are on a flat terrain. They'll show up on hills of canola, which are big flower plants that have stalk as thick as celery. They'll show up in barley, soy, corn, you name it. And these are all different mediums to work with. If you're working with canola, for example, if you were stepping on that with a wood board and rope, you would crack it in half, pretty quickly. It's fragile and thick, the stalk. And then on top of that, the flowers would get sheared off. And Gary King has even talked about where he saw some hoaxers prove that they could make it on in a canola field, and they did a flyover, and the flowers are all ripped off. They're strewn about. It looks like a slaughterhouse for flowers, let's say. But we look at a fresh crop circle that was made in a canola field that Gary walks into in the documentary. And the interesting thing is that in that design, now this was a 3D geometric design. It was a circle with a cube floating in the middle of it. And this was done on a hill, so not a flat terrain. It was symmetrical from the sky. It looked, perfect. And the flowers were still on all the plants. The stalks were not broken. They were just leaning down in the right direction, in the proper way, in order to look the way that it did. And what you'll notice is, he's there during the day when it's bright and sunny, and half of the design, the flowers have actually leaned up to catch the sun more. And that's a sign of two things. That's a sign that the plants are still alive, and you'll notice that in a lot of these anomalous crop circles that have shown up throughout the years, the plants are not destroyed and killed, they're alive. And when you take a plant, like a pot, and you have your flower in there and it's living, and you put it in front of a window and the sun changes direction throughout the day, you'll start to see the plant will kind of curve and try to point its petals or its leaves in a certain direction to soak up more sun. This is called phototropism. It's just the way the plant uh, tries to survive. It's trying to soak up more sun. It's trying to get more photosynthesis to create energy. And in these crops that are still alive, that are, created in minutes, sometimes hours, in the dead of night, no one sees anybody make them, and a lot of people don't come and lay claim to have made them. They are alive, and they're not crushed and destroyed with Doug and Dave's method of making these. So, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
one of the major issues.
And the way science has really looked into this and seen that the canola or the wheat or whatever it may be, the corn isn't snapped the way Doug and Dave were doing things. I mean, what's the radiation been like in a lot of these crop circles? Because humans can't create their own radiation, much like radiation that I know has been found in at least North American crop circles.
Yeah. So that's a cool story on its own. William C. Levengood, W.C. Levengood, he wrote a book on his research of crop circles. This is a Michigan man. He was a scientist and he took an interest in the crop circle phenomenon. He actually he took samples of the crop that Gary King walked in during July 7th, 2007. And when he analyzed the control sample that was from outside of the crop, and then the samples that were laid down that almost looked like they were willed down by some force, that weren't broken and were still living and growing, um, they noticed that there was little expulsion cavities at the nodes of the plant, meaning steam had released here from some kind of energy that was exposed to the plant, and little balls of metal were being sucked up from the soil. Soil is full of iron. I mean, iron is the most plentiful uh, substance on the planet. It's floating in the air, practically. And these spherical balls were being sucked up from the soil into the stalk of the plant, which was odd. You don't usually see that. And that means also this energy that was releasing steam out of the nodes was also creating that force to suck this into the plant. And yeah, and when they noticed this, he realized that there must have been some kind of electromagnetism that was being released onto the crop to create these formations in such an elaborate design, uh, without killing the plant, and still getting it to sort of be almost steamed down in a let's say 3D printed way, and he even, the really interesting thing is that he found that the plants grow a certain way if they're exposed to a certain level of electricity. The seeds that come from, the plants that come from these seeds, and he what do you call it when you send off a patent? Like he patented a technology that he found would yield better crops because of researching the crop circle crops. I mean, that's amazing in itself. Um, Now he's passed away now, but this is an example of a mainstream scientist being interested in trying to tackle the mystery of some of these really anomalous crop circles.
Darcy Weir is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio with the hoaxers Dave and Doug. there's a good question from Jeff, and normally I don't get into questions until hour number 2 from
No
our chat
worries.
rooms, but this one with Jeff is, why the hell didn't these guys get arrested and charged with trespassing and vandalism if they were faking them all?
Exactly. That's a huge problem. And a lot of about Gary would say about 50% of the farmers are pissed off most of the time that these massive formations show up in the middle of their crops because A, they don't want people coming on their property. And B, like they've got money to make and this is disruptive. And when people do come on the property, they usually don't care. They bring a Coke can, have a drink, drop that in the middle. That gets wrapped up in the tractor and, all that stuff, right? So farmers will actively try and catch hoaxers, you know? If they see lights in the field or something like that, they will make sure that they get arrested. They don't want this stuff happening. It messes with their livelihoods, right? And yeah, Doug and Dave never got caught for this. So they said that they had headlamps and they did it really, cleverly and whatever, but it doesn't add up
Yeah, but
at
if they're
all.
admitting to a
And
crime, they should have been charged.
yeah, exactly. And they never were. It just doesn't make any sense. And when people explain that they showed up right when they wanted people to take, it seemed like they showed up at a time that it took the heat off of the subject, perfectly. They just, people talk about men in black. I call them men in slacks. They're just a bunch of guys that wanted to take all the fame for this. And, I can bring up other examples, um, the Asahi beer company, right? Japanese, they decided to do a crop glyph as a marketing campaign, and it's just the beer label, the classic Asahi beer label that everybody may or may not know. And you can look this up online. You just Google Asahi beer crop circle, and you'll see it's just this rectangular. It's got the words in there. Now this pretty simple design. Guess how many people it took to make it?
50?
Pretty close. 40. 40 engineers. They used, geolocation technology. They mapped it all out. They used satellite technology. They even mowed it. And guess how long it took them to make it?
A week?
Yeah, 7 days. So, and then you see the 777 formation, or you see um, the Chilbolton crop circle. I love talking about this one. Have you ever seen the one from 2000?
No.
It basically it looks like one massive kind of Pokemon ball, and then two neighboring balls connected to it on the right and left, and then hundreds of emanating spheres coming out of those ones on the right and left. And people were pretty perplexed by this. It showed up right beside a dish, a radio telescope dish, that's parked right beside the field for looking into the cosmos and looking for signals and stuff, sending signals probably too. Um, no one really knew what this was in 2000, but then if you look up Chilbolton crop circle 2001, this is what people call the Arecibo reply. And it's really interesting because at the bottom of the Arecibo reply, it's this big rectangular sort of glyph. It's got a whole bunch of data on it that looks pretty strange. And at the bottom of it is the exact same design of this strange, you know, circles within circles, emanating out of circles, glyph. And what we found was that this is actually an illustration of a technology that these beings used to send information out into the cosmos. So the Arecibo message was sent in 1974 by Carl Sagan. This is a dish that's now defunct. It's lives in Puerto Rico. It's been pretty damaged recently. It's been all over the news that it's like falling apart. But Carl Sagan put this together. They put a 10-point message out into the cosmos, saying via radio telescope signal, this is who we are. We come from this planet that's around our sun. We're the third rock from the sun. We're humans. This is our bodily form. This is our DNA. And this is the technology that we use, a radio telescope. And what we get in the Arecibo reply is a 10-point, as you go down, you can see their bodily form. It's this big sort of egg-headed creature with almond-shaped eyes. Their DNA, they apparently have silicon added to their DNA, which is very different. They inhabit I think it's the fourth rock from their sun, and it basically shows like four dots together, meaning that they have three moons and they inhabit all of the moons as well. And then at the very bottom, it has their telescope, which is a microwave telescope, is what we found that technology would be. So, really, really intricate answer. No one's come forward to say that they've claimed, that they've made this. It showed up with a face too in the field next to it, and Carl Sagan is another person that just denied any existence of UFOs or any other intelligent life interacting with our planet. He denied the whole crop circle phenomenon while he was alive. And you get these messages that are replies to his that are sent out in space. And these messages show up right beside in the Chilbolton crop circle area, right beside a massive radio telescope. It's like, hey guys, we're here. We got your message. This is our reply.
I want to ask you about the crop circles because there's so many different elaborate designs that we've seen, from circles to squares to all sorts of amazing shapes, that just baffle the mind, and the artistry is incredible. It's an impossible question to answer, but what is the theory on whether or not these crop circles, Darcy, are of some sort of navigational chart, or some sort of message to other beings from above, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, that sort of theory was posed in the beginning of the movie Signs. I like that it was kind of this waypoint for an invasion tactic, strategy. But I think what the real use case of these really incredibly geometric messages, like I said, the message that showed up in 2000, the Chilbolton 2000 crop circle, we later in 2001 fully decoded what that was with the rest of the Arecibo reply. And I feel like we constantly get that in this phenomenon, because whether you believe it or not, there's continuity to this messaging. It's happening every year. It's not going away. I mean, even in 2020, we had a COVID-19 formation show up, and whoever is creating these messages is watching us. They see where we came from. They see where we're going. They seem to be concerned. It's a peaceful messaging, so it's not like signs. It's like an empathetic sort of messaging, and it seems to be evolving. You know, when they first started showing up back in the day, they were just more simple concentric circles. But you know, just like you said, there's some super elaborate designs, and I think we're still trying to decode what they fully mean. But if you just people say to me like, well, if you're creating a crop circle and you know that these beings speak English, why wouldn't you just put in English, we are aliens from planet whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, that would be an easy formation to make to get a message across. But wouldn't you also be debunking yourself? Because then you could say, well, humans made that for sure, right? But if you're making something that's incredibly complex that shows up in the middle of the day or right after the night rolls over into the day, and no one's around to account for it, and you have the first people, the first boots on the ground, actually being the first footsteps in the circle to be made. Well, then you can say these designs are being made by an intelligence that's not human. And I think that's the point. It's this geometry that is so complex that we can't even fathom how they made it in this crop to make it so symmetrical and so perfect from above in such a short amount of time. We can do it. It just takes more time and it takes teams of people. And you're not going to be able to hide that information. It's got to be planned, and you got to make a deal with the farmer and stuff. But the ones that show up anomalously seem to be from an intelligence that's not us. And they're proving that by showing how complex they make these designs. It's almost like saying, figure this one out, will ya?
Right? I mean, that's just exactly what I'm talking about because, I mean, they're so precise that there's always a human error to something. And with these crop circles, the real ones, that is, there doesn't seem to be any room for human error as we got about 1 minute left.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we can go into some other things when you come back from the break, but it just too many things. I mean, we can even talk about the 2017 Clay Hill Phantom crop circle that showed up. And I don't know if you actually got a chance to check that out, but in 2017, a massive geometric design showed up, and the year later in 2018, the crop wouldn't grow back in that area, and that phantom image, that crop circle ghost, stayed in the crop, and the canola didn't grow there. So that's another very strange um, phenomenon that happens that seems super anomalous.
Well, you know what? I'm going to get you to hold on right there, Darcy, because we are going to take a break here at the top of the hour. Darcy Weir, documentary filmmaker, is with us tonight, talking crop circles all night long here on Spaced Out Radio as we continue on with hour number 2, trying to figure out what crop circles really are. What are they all about? What is their message? How are they so accurate? And where do they come from? Where did they go? Where'd you come from, Crop Circle Joe? We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. All right, Darcy, I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah, sounds good, buddy.
You'll hear dead air for a while. Gary the Dutchman, you're Dutch. Just wanted to let you know you're Dutch. And Opa de Greco for another super chat. Thank you, buddy. All right, I'm back, buddy. Sorry about that.
I'm with you. I'm with you. No worries. How are the pups?
Oh, no worries, man. We all here, man. We all here.
Too cool. Ugh.
Give me 2 seconds here.
No worries. How's your buddy Merle?
Merle's good. He's good. We're working on some stuff. I need to talk to you about that.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, YouTube is still live, so
Okay.
they can hear us. So,
Alrighty.
but you and I need to have a talk.
For sure.
A good
For sure, man.
talk. A good, strong, manly talk.
Chat. Yeah, I'll find some time next week for sure. I'll give you a shout maybe during the day or something.
Yeah, next
In
Thursday
between.
would be perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Easy.
Wonderful, man. All right, 25 seconds. Thank you to Greco, Chad, Bigfoot Rob, Cat Chaser, Sinister Shorts, and Dirt Road for those amazing super chats. We absolutely love it around here. Thank you so much for your love and support. Thank you for everyone giving us a thumbs up. Thank you to everyone who's hit that subscribe button. All the veterans listening to this show, here comes hour number 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. I thank you so much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam is set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Valuative. Valuative is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight talking crop circles. Movie director and producer, writer, Darcy Weir is with us. He's got a great one out about crop circles. Darcy, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Hey, I want to start off with a question for our audience before we continue. This one comes from Cat Chaser, and she is wondering about the idea that lately there's been these sheep that have been filmed almost standing in a circular pattern like a crop circle. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have seen that. They kind of are like, it seems like they're staying out of a certain area, and they're like nocive of something that's there. I've seen that. I don't know what that is related to, but yeah, I have seen it online.
It's kind of amazing. It's almost like, okay, what do they know? What do they know, and why are they doing that?
What did they experience? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, whatever. There's a lot of stuff happening in the countryside. You know, people have talked about cattle mutilations for many years. I don't think cattle mutilations are happening near the crop circles. I think that's more of a United States phenomenon, but definitely UFOs have been experienced there, orbs, and a whole bunch of other anomalous information. So the crop circles are definitely being made by something that's not us. And there are some being made by us, but like we discussed before, why is that not enough people are being caught for this? Why is that they can't duplicate and make the same crop circle under the same conditions. I mean, in this documentary, Jaime Maussan offers $100,000 to somebody that can create a super intricate crop circle like we've had in the past, in the cover of night in a certain amount of time with, almost perfect symmetry from above. And yeah, no one's able to reproduce that in his request. So that is a stumper, why?
Well, that is a big one. Another question coming from Vinny, who is asking, is it possible that crop circles are from some sort of radio waves like somatics?
Very possible. Very possible. I mean, like, look, even an orb, if you look at that video, the Oliver Castle video, an orb is not like this massive ship, It seems to be some kind of technology. And if that technology is releasing these radio waves to create these glyphs in the field, that would make sense. I also think, we're at a point in time where we're using drones for war, drones to travel in space and take pictures of certain things and go where we can't go sometimes. It's very possible that there's a intelligent race out there that's figured out how to use a different technology of drones and maybe orbs and or maybe even if you're able to send some kind of information across space and time, and you can manipulate the atmosphere of another planet, you can, there's plasma high up in our own atmosphere. And W.C. Levengood, when he did his research on these crop circles, he said it looks like the crops are being exposed to plasma. So it's possible that they're using our own atmosphere high up and then releasing that on the crops to leave these designs. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
And that is a big one. What is causing it? How are they happening? Is there some sort of natural phenomena? But even with natural phenomena, which is very highly plausible, we really have to also look at the idea that why isn't this happening, on a daily basis? If it's some sort of Earth-like, something coming from inner Earth. I mean, granted, there's earthquakes every day on this planet.
Yeah.
We may not feel all of them, but there's earthquakes. Why, if they're happening every day and it's natural phenomena, why not these crop circles?
Yeah, some people do believe that it's like a message from Earth to Earth. It's almost like a Gaia type thing that's going on. But I don't know enough about that. I mean, it could. People have reported those balls, those like orbs coming from out of the ground and then hovering around the crop and then flying off. So that's another thing that's been highly reported. And that doesn't seem to, me like they're coming from the sky. So that's where's that? And I think Gary has even said some people believe that there's some spirituality included in the messaging and possibly some sort of spirit connection to the crop circles. People that walk into the crop circles, he reports, and he's walked in over 900 himself. People have all kinds of different experiences when they walk in. Some of them report being sick, violently sort of sick after they walk into them. Some people feel high and almost like this elation that they're overcome by. They feel super happy when they walk into them. And he always recommends when people walk into them to just, before you do, have a completely blank mind and think about, before you go in, clear your mind, then feel what you feel when you're there. And then when you leave the crop circle, then think, how was I just before I left the crop circle and just before I went into it? He even said that he had a friend that suffered from like sort of a throat cancer. She went into one crop circle, and she has a hard time swallowing and all this type of thing. And when she came out of this crop circle walk, she was able to, swallow perfectly for like 3 weeks. So some people believe that there's like a healing factor. Many people ask why the UK, why this area called Wiltshire. That's something we didn't really mention before, but Wiltshire is the common area of country land, farmland, that these formations always show up. And what you have to remember is that the birth of the world that we know today, modern world, came from England. This is where the English Empire fanned out and conquered the world and gave us agriculture in a farming sort of manner. And they really clear cut the forests of the Wiltshire area, and they did industrial farming here. And you'll notice in the formations that back in 1678 is where we really had our very first report of a crop glyph showing up. That's what the story of the devil shall mow, which was still on copper early printing press tablets. But all the sort of common things that happen in the crop circle phenomenon are still in that newspaper article. People reported that there was balls of fire floating over top of the crops the night that this incident happened. And 1678, one rich farmer wanted to hire a poor farmer to mow his crop, and they had a dispute over money. The poor farmer went away, and then he came back and said, okay, I will do this for you. But he had said no initially. The rich farmer said, to hell with the devil shall mow my farm. I don't need you. And the next day, these massive, perfectly symmetrical designs were put into his crop, and it looked, they said, like the devil's work, because it showed like the sign of perfection. And my theory, many other people's theories, is that there's a continuity of messaging. If you're going to leave these messages in one area of the world where it's getting enough attention anyways, like it has over the years, making news headlines, being on TV sometimes, being in documentaries like mine, you're going to continually put these messages in the fields of Wiltshire, because this is where you're going to have people know to go back every year to look for the new message. And, I always say this, like, if you have a friend who starts messaging you on Facebook, and then they message you on WhatsApp, then they message you via email, and then they're SMS texting you via phone, it's like, you don't want them to have this conversation in 4 different areas. Like, just keep it in one place so you can rely on this continuity of messaging. The story doesn't get lost, and you may find out new things in this conversation. And I think we see that in this.
Let's get, if you don't mind, Darcy, I got a bunch of questions from our audience that
Let's
I'd
do
like,
it.
hey, why not include them here? And Aaron is asking, do you think there are military flybys happening after crop circles are found?
Actually, yes. There's been reports of not only orbs, but right after orbs have been seen flying over farmland in the UK, these black helicopters are seen flying. And actually, the Wiltshire area is really close to a British uh, military installations. So there's all of that stuff. There's even Air Force personnel out in this area. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Whenever we've had UFO sightings, we've also had military presence.
All right, let's move on here. Rye is asking, Darcy, what do you think about the alien holding the binary coded disc that was found in a field? Real?
Yeah.
Fake?
Yeah, I think that's real. 100%. No one's come forward to claim ownership of making that. Again, this showed up, in one night. Massive disc, binary code, silhouette of an alien face. I mean, it's just incredibly complex, beautiful, and one of the messages in the disc is much pain, but there's still time. And that is a empathetic message. It goes with what I was saying before, that somebody is saying, we can see you, you're not alone, and we care. We want to, see you succeed, not destroy yourselves. And I think that's something that's constantly shown in crop circle messaging.
I mean, when I look at that one with the alien face, which is the prototypical gray, I look at it, man, and I just think,
It's
that,
it's not typical though, because even its eye seems to have a what do you call it, like an iris, and the grays have been said to just have big black almond eyes. That thing has a larger head, larger cranium, let's say, but its eyes don't look like Gray's eyes. They look like something between a Gray and us.
yeah, no, and trust me, I understand what you're saying there. Okay, but to me, when I look at that one, I just think, man, if there's anyone that's either been CGI'd or whether it's been humanly done, that's the one I would say I would look to.
Well, people say that about Oliver's Castle. Oliver's Castle is the video of the orbs flying over the formation being laid out in the crop. And what's interesting is that there's been photos of the flyover afterwards during the day of that actual crop circle design showing up. So it wasn't just 3D animation; it was literally that video was captured, and then somebody went out and took pictures, did a flyover of the actual crop circle that showed up. So, I mean, yeah, I mean this was a real glyph that showed up, man. Believe it or not. And I think that's one of the things. It's so complex. It looks like it's 3D printed. Back in the day, we didn't really know. How are these made so well? And we're catching up with technology now where we can 3D print things that just are perfect, like using AutoCAD and all kinds of design work. Maybe these things have figured out how to 3D print into a medium of crop.
I don't know, but that one just trips me out.
It's trippy.
Okay, with a crop circle like that one, if there's anyone out there that would be investigated by the government, it would be that one.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the government doesn't want to acknowledge any of these, especially in the UK. The BBC is the greatest debunker of all this. In my documentary in 2019, BBC published a news report saying, Doug was dead and his son was playing a guitar in a crop circle, and the whole article, it's 5 minutes The video is 5 minutes or 4 minutes long, and the whole article goes on to say the creators of crop circles are now completely gone. And it's like, why? Why does the BBC publish that when they know that there's so much more information out there that proves that these guys were hoaxers that did not create all the crop circles? They made some, maybe, but they didn't make the ones that we suspect are, so incredibly well done. We don't know who did them. So it just leads me to think that it's this media campaign, it's this PR campaign to destroy the crop circle subject and make sure people think there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, I don't get it. Let's move on here. Kira has a question. She is asking, are there sound frequencies that are inaudible to the human ear detected in crop circles?
Now, Gary has worked with people that have recorded things in the crop circles. Yeah, they've recorded electromagnetic frequencies and therefore audio frequencies too. Some people have described also walking out of a crop circle and kind of hearing a hum in their ear. So they're actually affected somehow vibrationally. So yeah, that's very accurate. I think if you look for that information, you'll find a lot more about it online.
All right. Vin is asking if you think that maybe the military is creating some of these.
No, I think the military, is chasing UFOs. If we look at like sort of the Tic Tac UFO, gimbal UFO video, if we look back to like Roswell, 1947, the crash craft, military is interested in apprehending and seizing technology. I don't think they're interested in 3D printing glyphs to distract the public.
All right. Let me take a look here for other questions. I know there's a bunch here. And let's go to, we've already asked Aaron's question. Ryan, we got about 2 minutes to go here, Darcy, before we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Ryan is asking, what do you think about the crabwood formation and others like it?
I think the crabwood is the disc, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Crabwood formation. Let me look.
I think we're both Googling at the same time.
Yeah, that's the disc.
Oh,
that's
is.
The alien.
Okay.
That's the alien in the disc. So we gone over that.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me follow up with one question about that. With that disc, have they been, as scientists, been able to try and figure out what the meaning of that disc is? Have they been able to break the cipher?
Well, yeah, they did. They found I think that's the star constellation to his top left hand side there, the 3 dots. That's supposed to be Orion's belt. So this, I think this being is trying to say there, like, we're from the constellation of Orion. And then the disc says a bunch of information, but like I said before, it said much pain, but there's still time is kind of like the end of the message, meaning, where we are in history, even with COVID-19, there's pain, man. There's a lot of pain. We're feeling it. But there's still time. We're getting through it all. It says also in the message, beware the bringers of false prophets, I think, or their broken promises. Let me just see here. Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Bell sound. That's apparently what's in the disc.
Well, hold on to that thought, because we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Darcy Weir, Crop Circles on Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Darcy, I'm just going to go fill up my my glass of water here. I'll be right back, okay?
Beauty. Okay.
All right, stay tuned. Sorry about that, Darce. I'm back.
Oh, no worries, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flying on by, dude.
Flying by. It's good stuff, eh?
Yeah, I'd love to see one of those.
Yeah, actually, once this pandemic goes away, I want to fly over there next season. The crops are going up and see what pops up because there's something every year. The other thing is, many of the crop formations just get mowed because, and we never even knew they existed because the farmers don't want people on their property, like I said, and they'll just be like, "I'm getting rid of it." So
Yep. I
they
could see
get rid
that.
of it.
I
Yep.
can totally see that. All right. We've got a couple minutes left. Oh, man. Yeah, this is one of those topics that I just think is way too weird. Way too weird.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's I mean, look, you got a little bit of everything there. You got sort of possible contact story. People say, "Oh, well," and we can get into that after. You can ask me like, "Well, if aliens are trying to make contact, why wouldn't they just land?"
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll go somewhere.
We'll go there.
We'll go
from
somewhere.
there. We'll go somewhere, wherever you want. I don't mind.
Not a problem. We've got about 90, just over 90 seconds.
How many people you got on the chat there?
In the chat tonight, we got 122 right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where are most people from?
All
States?
over. All over. U.S., Canada, Australia. We get a lot of Australia. Chris Moe is from Austria.
Cool.
Yeah, trying to see where everyone else is from. The UK, we get quite a few people who get up early in the morning. John Ballerman's from Vancouver, representing right there. Representing John Ballerman, everybody. He'll be signing autographs after the show lineup down the middle.
John Ballerman.
Uh-huh. Gary Vermeer, otherwise known as Gary the Dutchman from Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All of our listeners, go to mightymoosebeard.com and use promo code SOR2019. And believe it or not, you're actually going to get a Dutchman to give you a deal. It's true. Never happens on this planet except with Spaced Out Radio. We make miracles happen. Go support Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. $1 from your purchase will support Parkinson's disease research. Guys, hold on. We're going to get going here with the second half of the show right now. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. I want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Darcy Weir. We're talking crop circles tonight with the documentarian. Darcy, welcome back.
Hey, Dave. Happy to be here, man.
All right, dude. Let's ask another question from our audience here. Randy is asking, have you heard of any Sasquatch or Dogman sightings near these crop circles?
No. They don't have Sasquatch or Dogman sightings in the UK.
No, but here in North America, though.
Oh, in the United States, I was on a show with Whitley Strieber 2 nights ago, and he was saying that he did a crop circle formation visit in Texas, believe it or not. I mean, it doesn't just happen in the UK. They've been reported in France, Germany, Austria, Australia, in the United States too, Canada even. So, but have I heard of no, I haven't, to be honest. Sorry.
All right. Well, let's move on here as we continue on. I think we're pretty much wrapped up right now for audience questions. No, there's one from Joe in California who's got his hair is beautiful. I'm not going to lie. He's got beautiful hair. And cool. He is asking, can farmers claim crop circle loss on their insurance for the damage to their crops?
They could only do that if they arrested somebody, if they caught somebody responsible for it. But I don't think they can. No. And I think the interesting thing too, though, is that if it's created in this anomalous way, like I said, most of the crop still grows because it shows signs of phototropism, bending up towards the light to continue photosynthesis cycle. And so, yeah, they're still able to reap the crop, even though these designs show up.
It's weird. Man.
Weirdo. Yeah.
All right. Well, talking about this, how often are these actually happening? Are they happening on a weekly basis? And why do we I'll ask that question first, and I'll follow it up with, why do most of these cases seem to be happening in the United Kingdom?
Well, like I said, I believe that it's a continuity of messaging thing. You want to have your conversation in one place, continue it there, and it can evolve, and everybody can hold everybody accountable in that one area. So that's why I think it's happening predominantly in the UK. What was your first part of the question there, buddy?
Just why is it happening? Like, how often?
Why? Oh yeah, how often? So Gary King says, here's another thing about, the hoaxers that say that they're the ones doing it. In one night, the most he's recorded showing up is 6 different crop circles in one night throughout many different crops in the countryside. That's a lot of coordination, especially if they're super complex and they're not catching anybody, they're not getting anybody for these crimes. So there are many, every single year there's many being made, and not enough people being arrested to account for all of these different designs. So I think it's monthly at least. I don't know if it's weekly. I haven't really looked into how many, but it's yearly. There seems to be some every year.
Mm-hmm. Have there been any patterns found out by the farmers or investigators on when these are going to pop up?
I mean, they're going to pop up when the crops have grown. So it's summer most of the time,
No, I,
right?
I
So,
I I understand that, but are there any signs around? Like, is it weather pattern, weather related, or maybe insects or something that kind of
no,
detects?
I mean, to my knowledge, it's just been happening in the summers or the late spring when the crops have risen, and there's no sort of giveaways or tells to them coming. They just appear.
Hmm. Are they always followed by some sort of orb of lights?
Not always, but people have reported, seeing orbs flying over fields, that crop circles have appeared.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How long do they last for?
That's a good question. I was mentioning the Clay Hill Formation that showed up in 2017. This is a big sort of uh, circular formation with a 3D cube inside of it, big square. And the Clay Hill Formation showed up in 2017. I think it was like August, and they they last for like a month, just depending on when the farmer's going to mow, you know, take his yield from that crop.
Hmm.
But interestingly enough, in 2018, the farmer switched to a different type of crop. He switched to canola. And in 2018, the canola would not grow. So we get this phantom design. We get the same 3D geometric design, but it's an absence of a crop. And that's a really strange phenomenon. It's like crop circle ghosts.
No kidding. Before I get to more audience questions here, I want to ask you about the farmers
Yep.
because, we can sit there as the public and say, "Oh, this is beautiful. This looks great. How do you cut this down?" But for a lot of these sizes of these crop circles, they're sometimes an acre, 2 acres, 5 acres of damaged crop. And they're not looking at the artistry or where these things are coming from. What they're looking at is that just cost me $50,000 or $100,000 or more at times.
Mm, mm.
Have you talked to a lot of farmers about how this has affected them?
Well, we feature in the documentary, one farmer put up a collection for cancer research. So some farmers are very open to it. They know that it's beautiful and they don't want to stop people coming to see. So they just say they ask for a donation. Um, but some farmers don't want it at all, and they're money motivated in a greedy sort of way, and they don't want anybody trespassing on their property, so they just mow it right away. They get rid of the design, so there's nothing to even see. It's both. It goes both ways. Some farmers are well aware that this is a real phenomenon, and that there's no one that they could catch. There's no one to account for making some of these amazing agroglyphs.
Has a farmer ever allowed you to see the books or talk to you about the financial implications?
No.
Hmm. Because that would be interesting to see how much they actually lose.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm not really like a finance guy, but for sure that would be an interesting angle
Right.
to expose.
All right. Let's move on to Greco's question. He's in Toronto.
Let's go, Greco.
Yeah, and he's got a good restaurant there. It's funny. He never gives the name of his restaurant in our chat room, but uh,
Oh, Greco's.
but food and drinks are on him when we're in Toronto, man. Food and
Let's
drinks are
do
on
it.
him. All right. Greco's asking, can you still eat the crop after it's been in a crop circle?
Yeah. There's no like it's not like it's, irradiated with uranium or something and your teeth are gonna fall out and you're gonna shit your brain right out your ass. It's just oh, I shouldn't have said the
No,
S
you
word.
shouldn't have, but we'll edit that.
Sorry.
We'll edit
Whoa,
that.
whoa. But yeah, but I think it's it's not there's no high levels of harmful radiation that they've found in these crops, is what I'm trying to say.
All right. Greg has a question. Do the farmers ever hear noises from the field the night crop circles are formed?
Yeah, people often describe a hum or sort of like a slightly shrill noise that they can hear. Jonathan Wiley describes that too when he recorded the orbs at 4 o'clock in the morning when he was recording the Oliver Castle formation being laid out.
Hmm. Okay, let's move over to another question. This one from Kira. Has anyone ever been in a crop circle when it is being formed?
No, I've never heard of anybody being in a crop circle when it's being formed.
Wonder what would happen.
Maybe a hoaxer. They've got a wood board and a rope. They would be
Right?
technically in the crop circle as it. Yeah.
True. True, but I wonder what would happen. What if that actually happened?
Maybe they'd get flattened into the design. I don't know.
Or Travis Walton and hit by the beam?
Yeah, they'd beam them. Beam
Yeah.
them up.
Yeah, that beaming never goes very well.
Nah.
Never
You
goes
don't want
very
to
well.
you don't want to be beamed.
Darcy Weir is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. And interesting question from Greco here.
Let's
How,
go, Greco.
how come there are no crop circles ever spotted in marijuana fields?
Oh, come on. You can't harm Mary Jane. That's a like universal code of all aliens. You don't mess with Mary Jane. And isn't most of that stuff grown illegally in the mountains of northern California anyways? It's hard to do crop circles in the middle of the trees. No?
I have no idea, man.
I
No
was
idea.
just joking.
I am just a good Canadian kid who talks on the radio. That's it.
Rico, maybe we gotta head down and investigate with the cartels in Mexico. Maybe they've got some crop circle information. Who knows?
All right. Tony is asking, it has been known that meditation can cause a crop to form. Have you heard of this?
Yes. We actually feature this in the documentary. There was a man who passed away in Sweden, and a crop circle showed up the day after he passed away. People had been sort of meditating on this to happen that are in his family, kind of asking for this last message to be received because he was a researcher. And lo and behold, a message showed up in his farm field. There's also a incident where I think these musicians were playing music uh, in like pretty much at an edge of a field and meditating on more crop circle design to show up. I can try and find out which one it was, but that was an interesting case because as they were doing that every day, more and more of the design was showing up. And I'm going to try and find it here. It's called the Conversation. Crop circle conversation. Crop circle conversation. Look that up. But you can give me the next question and we'll figure that out in a sec.
All right. Greg is asking, are there any other crops outside of corn and wheat that we have seen crop circles form?
Yes, Greg. I was mentioning earlier in the show, you might have missed it. Canola is one that's been highly reported. Canola is a flowered plant. It has a stalk that's thick like celery, so that makes it harder to manipulate. And then the flowers are connected to it. That it's obvious if you use a wood board and a rope to form one of these intricate designs in canola, it will break, and the flowers will get sheared off as well from the force. But this shows in barley, it shows in canola, it shows in soy, corn, wheat, flax. It shows in flax as well.
All right. Vin is asking, are there crop circles in sand or anything besides crops?
Well, I mean, we know about the famous Peruvian glyphs, right? The Nazca lines. Those are in sand or sediment. And there's all kinds of ancient glyphs that, there's the famous hummingbird glyph that's part of the Peruvian glyph set in the Nazca area. And believe it or not, actually, that same hummingbird design was shown in Wiltshire, almost spitting image. You can look it up on Google. And I think what Gary says is there's many common things that show up in crop circles. One is geometry. Geometry is an ever truth, as Plato called it, because it's related to math. It's number in space. So, for example, a triangle in space is 3 lines. That's the number 3. And you can't argue that. That's something that's always been true and always will be true. So it's an ever truth. Geometry is also a universal language. And maybe that's why we always see beautiful geometric shapes in the formations. But he says that, the common things we see are in the messaging is geometry is one, religious symbols, animals, insects, and then sort of messages that are reflecting to us, ourselves, where we've been and where we possibly could be going.
Chris Mo in Austria has a question. Can the crops be used? Or, like you said, they can be eaten and they can be used, but
Yep.
Are any of them, or have any of them been found to be toxic or radiated to the point where they're pretty much dead crops?
No, none of that's been found. They have found that some of the seeds will be affected. Their growth will sometimes obviously the crop can be stunted in its growth after it's been leaned over like that, but it can still grow. And then the seeds that are yielded are smaller, and sometimes don't make as big. The plants don't grow as big.
So there are after effects, is what you're saying.
There's after effects, and we show that in the documentary, the research that's been conducted on seeds coming from these same crops.
You've talked to many, many brilliant people about this, not only privately but publicly, and this leads to Jim's question, who's asking, what are the theories out there of what the crop circles actually mean?
It's messaging. It's like I said, it's reflecting where we've been in history, where we're going. Um, the messaging shows concerns for what we're doing to the planet, and it's a constant dialogue. It's showing up year over year. For example, there was a COVID-19 crop circle that Gary did an analysis on. Showed up in 2020, and one of the spike proteins is highlighted in this crop circle design. He says that that's spike protein 8, and he called a bunch of the pharmaceutical companies to find out what the relevance of spike protein 8 was. And apparently, in the vaccines, spike protein 8 is the exact protein that is useful for the body to attack. And if your white blood cells identify spike protein 8 early on, then they know that that's the weakness for stopping the COVID virus. And that's why it's in most of the vaccines.
We've got 3 minutes to go here before we go to break at the top of the hour. Darcy Weir is our guest. Tony has a question for you. How often does magnetite also show up in crop circles?
Very often. Iron, too. Lots of iron.
What is magnetite for people who don't know, like me?
Magnetite is a mineral that is magnetic, and it's usually, seen deeper in the earth, but for some reason they found dust of it around the crops. And it makes them believe that whatever is creating this is kind of leaving a signature of this element.
Steve is asking, have you heard of the mini crop circles found beneath the Japanese subway trains?
I have not.
That'd be interesting.
I'm gonna Google that.
All right. Well, we're close to break when you can do that. Let's get to another question from
Sure.
Greco here. Have there been any crop circles that have been three-dimensional?
Many. Just to name a few, Clay Hill. You can look that one up. Clay Hill. There's constellations that we've seen, like our actual solar system on the given day that the solar system is aligned. That's another insane gotcha. Like, how did whoever created this, how did they make it so that they know exactly how the planets will be aligned in our solar system? So that's a really common one. Yeah.
Let's see if there's any more we can sneak in here.
Greco
is wondering, is there one crop circle to rule them all?
Probably the Arecibo reply. Carl Sagan's Arecibo reply. Chilbolton, CHILBOLTON, 2001. Look that one up. That's the one. The Arecibo reply.
I'm looking it up right now because I got to see what we're talking about as we get ready to go to break here. Wow. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Very kind of cool, actually. Looks like a video game.
Yeah. It's 10-point answer to our original Arecibo message Carl Sagan sent out in 1974.
Amazing. Darcy, we got you for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. I want you to hold on and get ready because we're going to continue Crop Circle talk. Whatever else comes up, see how nuts the chat room can drive me tonight because they're doing a great job of that as well. Hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, bud, I'll be right back, okay? Sit tight. Hey, Darce, I'm back. All right.
All right, buddy.
30 more minutes, bud. You can do it.
Yeah, we're almost there. Can do it.
All right. Let's go. See here. Just stick with me through the break when we get to the bottom of the hour. And that way I can say a proper good night to you, dude.
I'm probably going to duck out quick because I got to get up and get on a flight tomorrow. So,
where are you heading?
To Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, buddy. So, don't worry. We'll chat on Facebook or whatever. I'll just...
How long are you down in Mexico for?
Probably like another year.
Oh, wow.
Year. Yeah, my wife is from there, so...
Yeah.
Head down. Yeah.
Very
Get our
nice.
stuff done. Yeah.
Very nice. Are you going to get Mexican citizenship too? Or do you have to?
Well, yeah, I'll try. I'll have to do a little Spanish test and stuff, but that'll take time. It'll take time, brother. Gotta learn.
All right. Hold on one second here. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats tonight. Rye, Ed, Greg, Rachmaninoff, Greco with a couple, Chad, Bigfoot Rob, Cat Chaser, Sinister Shorts, and the Dirt Road. We really appreciate the love and support you guys give us on a nightly basis. Thank you to our new subscribers and all the veterans listening in. Here we go with hour number 3.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Valuative. Valuative is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Once again, our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, movie documentarian Darcy Weir is with us. We've been talking crop circles all night long. And Darcy, you know, crop circles, we tend to think that there are ties to the alien phenomena, extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
With the 180 days coming up in the end of June, do you think that we might be able to see some sort of connection between these UFOs that the U.S. is checking on out at their military installations and what we're seeing with crop circles?
No. My opinion is that the disclosure we're getting is a version of disclosure. You know, it's not the real full disclosure version that we deserve. This is just my opinion. You know, I feel that if it's a Pentagon-run mission, that they're gearing up for something, and I don't think they're going to want to talk about crop circles at that time. I think there's layers of truth to this subject, and crop circles are just one of the layers. You know, there's something that's on the outside of this thing. The greater sort of UFO encounters and stuff that are happening around the planet. But you know, you bringing this up, I might add that people say all the time when I'm doing these interviews, like, well, why would aliens want to create crop circles when they can just land? They could just take their craft and land in the middle of a field or something, or land on the White House lawn is the other one. But if you're a total illiterate on the UFO subject, you wouldn't you would tend to ask a question like that. And if you are literate, you know that we have a long history of shooting at these things. The Battle of LA, 1942, we shot at a craft for a whole night, just hovering over LA. Hundreds of rounds, some shrapnel came down, killed some people. So this is well documented. This was in the newspaper. You can even listen to the early radio report. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. Then there's Roswell, 1947, not too long after. We apparently captured a crashed craft. Then the Air Force comes out, denies that, says, oh, that was false alarm. That was actually just one of our weather balloons. Later on, that evolves to Operation High Jump. That's what the dummies were. There were no actual alien bodies, yada, yada, yada. It's all a PR campaign. It's all a cover up. And that's the reason why they're not going to land. And I think the crop circle glyphs are an easy way to send a message to us that's peaceful, that doesn't involve them needing to land.
What do you think is going to happen with this 180 days report? Do you think we're going to get anything?
Stephen Bassett, he's featured in this documentary and a couple other ones I've done. He tends to think that there's going to be citizen hearing, or not citizen hearings. There's going to actually be congressional hearings. So that means, a whole board of congressmen sitting there, kind of like in a big jury hall, and military personnel and high-ranking government officials will testify on their experiences of the UFO phenomenon and military involvement, yada, yada, yada. I would love that to happen. I don't know how accurately that will happen. I think what's more likely is that we'll get more documents released before the end of June from different, three-letter acronymed agencies. Like, we already have the CIA release theirs. Be nice if the NSA released theirs. I don't think the NSA has ever released any information. They're kind of like the top of the top. But there's even the space agency like NASA. All of these research agencies need to release what they know. I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think it's going to be the disclosure that we really want. That's just my skepticism and my theory that, if we haven't had the full truth and the whole truth at this point in our existence on this planet, then why would we get it, like, everything now? There's a reason why we're being kept in the dark.
What do you think that reason is?
Oh, just control. I think that's the easiest reason, Control if you control the truth, you control basically our destiny, what we're allowed to do, what we're allowed to know. It's all control.
How do you think the media has handled this?
I don't think the media handles any of this well. In the crop circle phenomenon, the media has handled it really poorly because they believe that Doug and Dave were responsible for all crop circles. open shut case, right? So I think the media is a joke when it comes to fully representing the data that's out there in this phenomenon. Everything just goes back to sports and celebrity and you know your typical mainstream media type fanfare. Um, but I think what's happening with the Pentagon videos, the gimbal videos, all that type of stuff. There's a motive. There's a reason why that's being released, and we'll find out. You know, there's going to be some aha moments in the coming years, because I don't think if we're going to space, if we're planning to, Tesla's flying, testing out his space rocket to go to Mars right now. Um, I think it's very possible that it's going to have a Space Force convoy. You know what I mean? Of military ships going with it to make sure that that mission to colonize Mars is an American success. And perhaps part of this release from the Pentagon is to prepare us for certain things we're going to run into in space that they just can't keep a secret anymore.
See, I think we're all going to be disappointed. I really do. I
I
don't
do too.
I don't think that we're going to get a lot of stuff that is of any importance. I think we're going to get more military gun camera footage or night vision footage. I think they're free to give that up, but there's so much that's going to be hidden under national security that we have to prepare for disappointment when that study comes out. I mean, we're all like a kid waiting for that toy we asked for on Christmas Day, and that we've been waiting a whole year for that toy. And we're going to end up with a pair of jeans and a new
Socks.
vest and socks.
New socks. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Our parents can't afford to give us the truth
Do you
or
think
the nice toy.
that actually brings up a good question? Do you think that we can handle the truth?
No, I think they have good reason to think we can't. Um, I think there would be some destabilization and sort of hysteria in the public. Um, I think your listeners, I think a lot of people that are all into these type of subjects are ready for it, but the vast majority of people, um, no. I mean, even the fact that the Pentagon videos came out and they didn't make a big splash just proves that people don't care. If
That
this
is very
came out,
true.
if those videos came out in like 1980, 1970, people would be flipping out. But now everybody just cares about celebrity, sports, politics, the pandemic.
Very true. Very true. But I mean, can you blame them? I mean, society's pretty heavy right now that we're looking for anything for distraction, and adding another type of phenomena to this planet in an already stressful lifestyle with money at a concern, taxes going up, the cost of living going up. We could barely afford to do anything. Add all the tensions that are going on politically, racially, everything. I mean, we're just sick and tired of it. We imagine throwing aliens in there now. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a weird time. It's definitely a weird time. It's such an unstable time, and maybe that's the reason why aliens are coming out now. I don't know.
I want to ask you this because this is something I asked our audience for the last couple of weeks, and I've asked a number of guests this is now. Why now? What is your opinion of why now? We have had over 70 years of people and the military and the governments, making fun of this topic.
Yeah.
and really ignoring it, really playing it down that people aren't having experiences, whether it's swamp gas or Fife Symington, the former governor of Arizona, walking out a fake alien in handcuffs, during the day after the Phoenix lights. We have a lot of that going on, man. And
Mhm.
there's no reason, in my opinion, for all of this to come out. I do not give one iota of credence to the Stars Academy and Tom DeLonge. I don't think that they would have that much pull on bringing this subject forward. Chris Mellon and Lou Elizondo, for the great job that they have done over time, I don't think they have enough pull to make this actually happen as a subject. So my question to you is, in your opinion, why now?
Mm, maybe something is coming that they just can't stop, and they want to be ahead of it, um, in order to control the truth in their own narrative, and not let it get away from them. It could be that simple. Maybe something's coming.
Like,
Maybe we're headed for some kind of greater contact. I don't know. Maybe there will be intervention to a larger degree if we're headed to war. I don't know. That's something people have speculated. We know that there's been a lot of nuclear missile deactivation at missile silos and stuff in the 70s, and all kinds of UFOs flying over installations, like the Bentwaters case in the UK, Rendlesham, right? All of the whenever it involves uh, Dr. Jacobs, I think he also recorded. He said that he was involved in a UFO that shot at a dummy warhead and then flew out of the shot back in the 60s. Anytime that we're dealing with nuclear war, it seems like UFOs kind of get involved. That's when the UFO wave of the 1940s and 50s really took off. And we were detonating our bombs. We're setting them loose on folks in Japan. Sucks, and perhaps there's some intervention going on then, and there's some more that possibly may happen in the future. And we were discussing the crabwood crop circle formation of 2002. Part of that message was, beware, bearers of false gifts. And let me just pull that up again. Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception. So some people believe that this has to do with a supposed deal that happened in the 1940s between us and an extraterrestrial group. This was like a technology transfer as well as
the Greada Treaty.
Yeah. And this is the in this message, in this crop circle, in the disc, it's warning us, that was a bad treaty, and be careful, because maybe we're going to be presented with the information that we got the short end of the stick there, and we got to protect ourselves a bit better.
See, I tend to think much along the same lines as you, as we got about 5 minutes to go here. I really do believe that we must have got a message saying that we're coming. This is the date. You've got, I don't know, I'm going to make something up here, like 30 years to prepare or 20 years to prepare until we get there. Start prepping your people of Earth now. kind of thing. To me, that sounds logical
Yeah.
because if we're going to think that the why now movement that I'm trying to start here,
Mhm.
okay, is really a movement towards trying to figure out why all of a sudden we need this to happen. What happened to cause this?
Mhm.
All right. That makes me look at things and saying, okay, did we get a message? Is the Greada Treaty true? Do we have something happening in that time? It's nothing on this planet that I could think of. It
Yeah.
really isn't.
Yeah, it's very possible that something is coming that's going to be a little bit more overwhelming for the militaries of this planet, and that's why they want to release this information so that they can justify things that they're doing in the future, which may include locking down the planet to some degree, you know?
Oh, it
Who
very well
knows?
could.
Yeah.
It very well could. I mean, I've talked ad nauseum on this show recently about that I don't think the majority of humanity is prepared for this.
No.
And, you look at the way we have acted during COVID, whether you're a masker, anti-masker, vaxxer,
Yeah.
anti-vaxxer,
It's all selfish.
whether you're going to the grocery store to spend $1,000 on toilet paper and rob everybody else of an opportunity to wipe their butt clean. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen some of the worst in humanity over the
Yeah.
last year and a half. We really
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Yeah. Much pain, still time.
All right, bud, we've got 3 minutes to go here with you, and Darcy Weir is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, and we have had a fantastic show talking everything from crop circles all night long until, a little bit of UFO stuff, because you know me, I'm always going to get some UFO woo in there if we can. You got to just slide it in. Sometimes gently, sometimes goes in hard, but either way, we are getting some UFO talk into this one. Darcy, tell us what's coming up for the future here for you.
Yeah, so I'm going to be speaking at the UFO Mega Conference in Lachlan, Nevada. People can buy some tickets, check that out. I'm going to be talking about secret space and some of my research I've done recently, documentary series that I'm working on too, with Richard Dolan and Jim Goodall. People can check out my website, occultjourneys.com. All my films are there. You can watch the trailers. You can click on the poster, and that'll take you through to a site that you can watch the films, and you can read about them. And if you ever want to reach out, I'm Darcy Weir on Facebook and Instagram. Happy to connect.
For sure, my friend. And tell us about some of your older films that we can check on out.
Sure. The Underground, Underground Base Research with Richard Dolan, Richard Sauter. It's about uh, our good old man Phil Schneider. Also done Volcanic UFO Mysteries, The Unwanted Sasquatch, Sasquatch Among Wild Men, and many, many more. So check them all out. Let me know what you think.
I honestly am looking forward, dude, to seeing about your one on the secret space program. Very interested to see what you get off of that because I am a very, very big believer that there is something magnificent with that and there's some incredible toys that are out there.
For sure there is. TR3Bs and all that. Yeah, you bet.
Man, when will that one be coming out, you think?
Part one, which is really about the early space history and UFOs and such, proof that we've had some interactions there, is that comes out in June, and I'll be premiering it at the UFO Mega Conference in Nevada.
That's fun.
Yeah. And then the part two will be sometime later this year. Don't know yet because I'm still working on it.
Well, good luck to you, Darcy, in everything that you do. And thank you for always thinking of us here at Spaced Out Radio and how we can help and be a part of what you're doing. It's always incredible to get the opportunity to chat with you, my friend.
You bet, man. Love being on your show. You're a great guy, and stay healthy, man.
Thank you. You too. Darcy Weir, everybody. Cultjourney.com. Check out his site. You'll love his documentaries. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire, and we have the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. We're going to take this thing home right after this.
Brother, I'm passing out.
Yeah, dude. Good job tonight, eh?
Thank you, man. I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, give me a call.
Will do.
Right, bro. Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye. All right. We're done. 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 Be right with you in a minute, guys. Good night, Dirty Filth. Thanks, Michael Lastuca. Good night, Justin. Or I think, Justin, you're still here. Binster, what's going on? Thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate that. Thank you to Rye Guy, Ed Clater, Greg Moyes, Rachmaninoff, Greco with a hat trick tonight, Chad, Bigfoot Rob, Cat Chaser, Sinister Shorts, Dirt Road. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. The gnome artist is God, now I forget. The Michael Leger. The Michael Leger. Finny. Oh my God, I was not prepared to read that. Oh my. Oh my. Not prepared to read that. Sovereign, do me a favor, honestly. Take your caps lock off. It screws me up, man. Honestly. It really does. I'm asking you as a favor, please. If you love Davey, put your caps lock off for regular conversation. Damn it, man. Here we go. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, sometimes the very humble. Jonathan Frostick may not be a name that you know or will ever know. However, he is a program manager at an investment bank, and currently he is still in hospital when he wrote a LinkedIn post vowing to step away from work and spend more time with his family, and thousands have responded. So as he sat at his computer recent Sunday afternoon, preparing for the work week ahead, Jonathan, a program director in an investment bank in London, said he could not breathe. His chest tightened. His ears started to pop. He was having a heart attack. His first thoughts were, how would this disrupt his work life? I needed to meet with my manager tomorrow, Frostick said, who works for HSBC. This isn't convenient. Yeah, it's never convenient when you have a heart attack. Later, as he was rushed to hospital and then on his hospital bed, Frostick began to examine his life. And he wrote, beneath a photo of himself in his hospital bed, he posted new vows for his life going forward. I'm not spending all day on Zoom anymore. I'm restructuring my approach to work. He would no longer put up with workplace drama. Life is too short, he wrote. Lastly, I want to spend more time with my family. Since he described his epiphany a week ago, his post has been liked over 200,000 times. It's been received by more than 10,000 comments of people telling him that they've also stepped back from work and take stock of the way they have been living their lives. The post resonated at the time when weary people across the world are experiencing ennui, dread, and more work-related stress during the pandemic. Even those who have been lucky enough to keep their jobs have questioned their purpose in life as they spend long hours on Zoom calls and answering emails into the night. At the same time, employees who have managed to strike a better balance between their jobs and their personal lives during the pandemic are now reckoning with a return to the office, causing them to reevaluate how much time they actually want to dedicate to work. I know countless people in the last few years who have suffered life-threatening illnesses just simply because there is no downtime always on call, a management consultant from Alberta here in Canada said, and he wrote it on Frostic's post. It's absolutely detrimental to our health, but we're built on the existence that we've always had to keep pushing. Another person described how she had become so burnt out at work that she was admitted to a psychiatric hospital. I relate, bro, said one other person from Nigeria, an entrepreneur. Spartan life. Bro, welcome to the real life. Now you'll truly live. So this guy, hopefully he follows through on his goals. He's going to survive from the heart attack, and maybe now he can enjoy some life like we all should. Climate activists dissatisfied with President Biden's climate plan are not so subtly expressing their displeasure as they are literally calling bull crap while dumping cow poop in front of the White House. The demonstration was being conducted by Extinction Rebellion, an organization that pushes for nonviolent direct action and civil disobedience to pressure government to act justly when it comes to climate and the environment. Net zero by 2030 and not in the my term of office scams are a little too far late. All right. Extinction Rebellion spokesperson Riley Polka, big Bobby Vinton fan, said in a statement, Biden is punting the crisis to future generations with targets that can rely on unproven technologies sucking carbon out of the atmosphere. This is a massive gamble to take when the well-being of the human species and the richness of life on Earth is at stake. If he cared, he'd hit set targets that expire while he's in office. We can't keep waiting. We need change now. Now, demonstrators could be hearing chanting bull crap in more swearing words and no more climate crisis while marching down the street with wheelbarrows full of feces. They eventually unloaded their cargo in front of the White House, making it a real stinky situation. The demonstration took place as Biden held a virtual climate summit where he and Vice President Kamala Harris hosted world leaders, including Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping. I don't think Xi Jinping has ever smiled a day in his life. You ever see him? He's always... Well, you can't see me on radio, but if you're watching on YouTube, you can see. He's got that sour taste in his mouth that he's upset that someone blindfolded him and made him suck on a lemon. You ever notice that? That's the way he looks. Now, probably going to get hit with Chinese bots for that, so I apologize. You know, this is something that I'm not sure if you can retire from it. American influencer Kinsey Wolanski has opened up on how streaking during the 2019 Champions League final boosted her career. The 24-year-old left all eyes on her in Madrid 2 years ago when she darted across the Wanda Metropolitano pitch in a skimpy black bathing suit. Yes. It wasn't just fans that failed to keep their eyes off her, as Tottenham midfielder Harry Winks was caught staring at the blonde beauty. Her stunt was to promote her then boyfriend's X-rated porn website, with her actions resulting in her spending 5 whole hours in jail. Yeah. Wolanski commented on how her streak affected her career. Took off, really. Lucky girl. Shortly after the incident, the California native gained over 2 million Instagram followers, and she has remarked how she has had the chance to connect with people all over the world, all because she wore a thong bathing suit running onto a soccer field. She said, I definitely wasn't prepared for what was to follow that game, but going into it, I was excited to push things to the limit and see where it would go, as I love living life to the fullest. I'm very thankful for that experience, as it grew my platform that I now have to share and connect with a wider audience across the world. Think she's into popularity? I have no idea. No idea. You ruined a soccer match. If it wasn't bad enough that these people paid good money to be at a soccer match, you ruined it. God, I hate the streakers. Horrible. Horrible. Baseball, football, the odd time in hockey, it's terrible. Streaking's horrible. Or all those idiots who try and parachute into boxing matches at Caesar's Palace. Moronic. Terrible. And now she's benefiting off of it. Kind of like that Cash Me Outside girl, you know. Remember her when she was like 14 years old? And now she, like, within a couple weeks, she had an album and it was like worth like $6 million. Brutal. Brutal. A lot hotter women out there, too. Just saying. Parking feuds tend to ignite a certain unique kind of anger between neighbors, usually a slow-burning dispute that tend to result in out-and-out pettiness. After one guy got gradually more and more peeved off at the parking of another, a passive-aggressive note was found on his website, complete with a good old-fashioned threat to get the council involved. Boy, the bad parker must have been shaking. But as is the way with neighborhood quarrels, it wasn't taken lying down, with the recipient of the note leaving a brutal response. Posting the cringeworthy encounter on Reddit, the gentleman wrote, "Found an angry note on my car today. I replied." The original note was posted next to his letter, which was placed in the car. The angry note read, "This is a public car park. You have taken parking spaces for 2 weeks. This is not fair on residents whom rely on this car park. The council have been informed." And the reply was incredible. The gentleman said, "To the writer of this note, firstly, I would like to thank you for your vigor, which you are defending residents' right to park in this public car park. I have not taken parking spaces for 2 weeks, as you claim, but actually 2 years with this vehicle, and 6 years if you're including my previous vehicle." He went on to say, "I agree that it is annoying when there aren't any spaces left in this park. However, that is the nature of a public car park, and it's something we all have to live with. For at least 3 nights last week, I had to park on the road. While I appreciate your opinion, I will be continuing to use this car park where spaces permit for the foreseeable future. I would have thought that my house being 200 feet away from this car park qualified me as a resident. If you'd like to discuss this in more detail, I would like to welcome the opportunity to hear what the council's response was to being informed that a car has parked in a public car park. You can't beat a faux formal response to really put a busybody in their place." Literally hundreds of people replied to the post with similar anecdotes. One person said, "Reminds me of the time someone left a note on my flatmate's car, adamant that the parking was residents only and that he should use the public car park 2 streets down. Except the car park 2 streets down is actually private. It's not residents only parking. And well, even if it was, the he bloody lived here for like 3 years at this point with the same car." Shaking fists in anger. Oh, yes. Scary situation here. Rescuers are scouring the Bali Sea for a stricken Indonesian submarine with 53 sailors aboard and are hoping the crew could still be alive. But as the hours since the vessel's disappearance tick by, the chances of survival grow increasingly slim. The Indonesian Navy Chief of Staff Admiral Yudo Margono said to reporters that a search of the vicinity where the diesel-powered KRI Nagala 402 is believed to have gone down about 60 miles northwest of the resort island of Bali had located an object with a high magnetic force floating at a depth of 50 to 100 meters. "And we hope it is the KRI Nangala," he said. But the Navy has said previously that it believes the submarine may have sunk in a particularly deep spot in the otherwise relatively shallow sea, about 600 to 700 meters or 2,300 feet down, much deeper than the boat's maximum operating depth and likely below its crush depth. Even in the best case scenario, the Navy Chief of Staff emphasized that with oxygen expected to run out early Saturday, a quick rescue would be critical. Hopefully we can rescue them before the oxygen has run out. Oh, that is just so scary, isn't it? Could you imagine? Oh, I could never imagine that. That's one of the reasons why I could never join the Navy. Never. God bless you for going on them big ships. But you know what? They sink. Submarines can sink too. I read the Hunt for Red October. I know how this stealth stuff works. The book was much better than the movie, by the way. Thank you, Tom Clancy. But there's no way I'm going under there. You know what happened here? I'm going to tell you what happened here, and I'm not even making fun of this situation. A megalodon bit it. That's my theory. Megalodon bit it, thinking it's a food source. Thing sinks, and that's where we're in this situation. My opinion. Could be wrong. I think it's something we got to look at. Really do. A Ukrainian airline, go Ukraine, is commemorating the 35th anniversary of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster by offering an aerial tour of the flight and the site through flight. Ukrainian International Airlines announced it is teaming up with Chernobyl Tour, a company specializing in exclusion zone tourism, to offer an aerial tour of the nuclear power plant site and the abandoned city of Pripyat on April 25th, the 35th anniversary of the disaster. The airline said the plane will pass over the city at an altitude of 2,950 feet, the minimum allowed, and in-flight information will be provided by guests or guides to the guests for the Chernobyl tour. Tickets for the 197-passenger jet flight will begin and end at Kiev's Boryspil Airport. They are on sale for $106. I would totally do that tour. How creepy would that be? Seriously. A Massachusetts family hired a professional treasure hunter to investigate decades-old rumors of money hidden in their home. What he found was pretty cool. How about $46,000 underneath the floorboards? Keith Willie said he was contacted by a Western Massachusetts family who told him about a rumor of a large sum of money that was concealed in their home in the 1950s. The family said that they had hired carpenters to look inside walls and underneath the floors in the past, but no trace of the rumored cash was discovered. Willie said he took his metal detector into the family's attic, and it signaled that there was something underneath floorboards. A look with his endoscopic camera revealed a metal box hidden under the floor. Willie and the family pulled up the floorboards, opened up the box, seeing the wad of cash wrapped in its original bank straps dating back to the 1950s. A family member who identified herself as Karen, and she wanted to speak to the house manager, said that the discovery came after many years of wondering if the stories of the hidden money were true. "I'm just glad we found out," Karen said, and she wants to talk to the manager about it once again. "I still find that funny. I do. I know you don't. I do. That's okay. I'm behind the microphone." She said the family has not yet decided what to do with the discovered cash. Karen will have a complaint if they spend it in the wrong place. A turtle crashed through the window of a car on a Florida highway. How does this happen? Flying turtles in Florida now? It struck a 71-year-old woman in the head, but both the woman and the reptile are expected to be A-OK. The Port Orange Police Department said a woman called 911 to report that she had been driving on the interstate when an object crashed through her windshield and struck her passenger, her 71-year-old mom. Yeah. A driver who stopped to help during the call identified the object that came through the glass as a flying turtle. Who the hell flies a turtle? How does a turtle use its... It doesn't have wings. It's not aerodynamic. How is this thing flying through the window? Who threw a turtle from their moving vehicle? Who does that? Oh, okay. Hold on. Officer Andre Fleming, police spokesperson, said firefighters discovered the turtle was alive and apparently free of serious injuries, only scratch marks to its shell. So they released the turtle into the nearby woods. Still doesn't mean how that turtle... This is a mystery. How does this happen? How does this happen? How does a turtle go flying into a windshield? Only in Florida. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What's your thoughts on what's creating crop circles? Rex. Definitely two old guys with a rake and a rope going out in the middle of the dark night between changing their adult diapers. Okay. Okay. Nick, all the crop circle designs as well as glyphs that were taken from the Rendlesham Forest incident and others need to be programmed into one of these laser systems, taken out to the desert at night, and start flashing that information. That's actually a good idea. Really good idea. Greg, I think they are messages getting sent from the future through gravity, like the movie Interstellar, except instead of the dust in Murphy's room, it's corn in a field. Captain Gnosis, messages through high frequency conveying particle physics, mechanical blueprints, and astronomical positioning, marking time. Also, some people, but you can test the bends of the crop stems and take EMF readings and soil samples to find out for sure. Wu-Tang, I think it's a type of energy they emit from their craft, and it's their honest attempt at communicating with common folk like farmers and blue-collar workers by putting it in the fields, some near Stonehenge, which is very interesting. Wiggy, depends, some are fake, some I believe are created by something else. I will never forget seeing Simeon Hine replicating them with sound frequency. Also, the ones that are real have different signatures that the fake ones don't. Tinfoil hat guy, people, I haven't seen any evidence to show otherwise. So you haven't looked then. John believes they're frequencies. Carl, in my opinion, some are created by non-human intelligences by use of a burst of energy terminated at a precise elevation or point. This superheats moisture in the stalk, causing the blown out nodes. Jules believes it's frequency. And let's move on to Facebook here. Adriano, Dave Scott trying to call in more buddies. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. You're next. Ray, farmers with a great sense of geometry. Paul, majority are human. Sylvia, those little orbs don't think humans are doing it. Kevin, alien children with a spirograph set. That could be. Neil, UFOs make crop circles, or the man-made ones by drunk people. Lori, Earth's magnetic ley lines? Who knows? But I say some fields have aliens. Always true. Kira gets the final word tonight. Oh, we might sneak in one or two more. ETs from space and unknown Earth energies, and of course the ones made by humans that are scientifically nothing like the aforementioned. And yeah, we're going to call it on that one because we're running out of time here. And say a big thank you to everyone participating in the Thought of the Day. We'll do it all again next time. And of course, to Captain Shirk for setting us up with the SOR News Wire. She always does just a tremendous job. And of course, Darcy Weir, talking crop circles, UFOs, aliens, nodes. Don't use the word nodes enough on this show. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, the Space Travelers Club at our website, and Derek and the Snarkettes singing away at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. It was a good show. Good show. Can only learn to speak. That'd be great. You're very good. Do. Kira, you made it through the full show. That's amazing. Way to go. You're going to get a special cut of turkey on your next Thanksgiving just because you made it to the end of this show. Remember, Kira likes the neck. Special piece of turkey just for Kira. Mm-hmm. True. Oh, very true. Vin likes the legs with skin. Hey, Desert Clam, are you around? Clamster, are you still here? Goddamn, Vin. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Vin. Appreciate you. About the size of a turkey, too, Kira, so be careful of Vin. Brad Forsey, what's going on? Mondak. Trying to get some Merle type atmosphere for Mondak. Cadnom. All right, let's start this thing off. Brad Forsey looks like he's in Michigan or Minnesota. I'm putting out the call right there. Yeah, tomorrow night's going to be good. We got Duke. And we have, what's his name? Mad Cow? Something like that. I get that. Where's that the start there? Hold on. Radio chat room there on Facebook. There. You know, I coughed right at the beginning there. Damn it. I always get worried that if I sit here silent too long, that you people will be like, "Will Dave ever talk?" I don't know whether I should just talk for the. I have no idea what's with the Google bots. They just seem to happen. We'll look that up here momentarily. What causes Google bot? They're not Google bots. Causes YouTube moderators to enter a chat room. I don't want to. I think there's certain trigger words that are used. Like I didn't see what Princess Denali was writing. I really didn't. Try and find something on that. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. Oh, I know they were Princess. I know they were. I have no idea. I don't understand the YouTube thing right now. I know there are keywords that YouTube has has probably put into their codes. What happens when you put nudes? Now I'm going to try. Nothing happens. Because Chrismo, YouTube knows how suave you are. That's why. They know how suave the Chrismo is. It's true. Chrismo, how many languages do you speak? I'm going to say you speak 3. I deleted it. YouTube did not delete it. I deleted it. Be right back, people. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. Dog wanted to go out. Need 2 seconds. Hey, Ange in Australia, how are you? That one. No. See you, Chris Mo. Yeah, Duke and Caveman are on tomorrow night. Bigfoot talk. The end of the week, we'll get into some woo. Be a lot of fun. Get in there. Drop in. Here. Upload. Folder. Desktop. KZX. Load. Stuff right there. Moving forward here. Hey, Olin, how you doing? Justin Rocco, good to see you. Thurston Howell the Third, how's Lovey? Oh. Have a great day, Rafaela. National Memorial. Good to have you here. What are you talking about, sovereign farts? Holy smokes, are you okay, Dave? Serious question. Yeah, I'm tired, dude. I'm tired. Hello, Nikki. How was your night? I wish the after shows were a little bit more exciting than what we do. But you guys just like to chat away, so I just kind of just shut up and sit here and watch, do my thing. Well, what we're going to end up doing here, Vin, is we're going to once the new website is up, going to be moving the chat room over there to the website. And so for a number of you, if you want to keep chatting, because one thing I don't like is that when I say goodnight to you guys, like I'm doing work here and all that kind of stuff, but once the night ends, I know a number of you want to keep chatting, and there really isn't a place to do it. So I am going to be putting a chat room on our private side of our website, and kind of go from there. Yeah, there will continue to be mods. So, you guys will just have to police yourselves. But we'll figure that out. I mean, the hard part for something like that is somebody, if you're in my position, you got to worry about what if somebody says something very offensive, and then somebody screenshots it and says, look what SOR puts up with in their private chat rooms, and this is the way that they talk in there, and if shit like that happens, that's one of the dangers of it all, that we have to make sure that there are some sort of moderators in there. Excuse me. We'll see where it goes. All right, I got to get the website running here quickly. Hey, Raul, good morning to you. Oh, Cloudy has a crush on Kira. You know what? To make you jealous, Cloudy, I'll tell you, I actually have Kira's phone number, and I'm not giving it out. Troubled Minds, welcome to our chat room. How are you? And on that note, I'm going to say a big thank you to Vinster, to Rye, Ed, Greg, Rachmaninoff, Greco for the hat trick, Chad, Bigfoot Rob, Cat Chaser, Sinister Shorts, and the Dirt Road for amazing super chats tonight. Hey, look who it is. It's the gorgeous Emily Bigelow, otherwise known as Alaska's greatest athlete. She is back. What are you doing awake? Did you wake up? Did you just wake up or did you just finish taking your makeup off for the day? Be honest. Oh, Super Lee, you're here still too. But a big thank you to everybody who hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button tonight. We really do appreciate the love, and all the veterans out there who listen to our show. Really appreciate each and every one of you for tuning us on in. You guys are the best. Tomorrow night on the show, we got Duke, we got Caveman. We're talking Bigfoot all night long like that. So you guys sit back and enjoy. We're going to do it all again tomorrow night because that's what we do. Much love to each and every one of you, and we'll see you tomorrow night to finish off the week strong. Take care.